Hello, little Timmies. And today I'm going to be talking about the two 60-point games, and a 50-point game. So first let's start off with the 60-point game, and that was Kyrie Irving. The Brooklyn Nets were playing the Orlando Magic, and Kyrie Irving had 60, which is his career high. And that one, it was just kind of, for me, it was, everyone was saying that Kyrie was, bad. And now he came back, has 60, and he's basically the same player he was before, but he just isn't playing full-time. But yeah, 60 points for Kyrie. It didn't really surprise me. But then the second one was a 60-point game from Karl-Anthony Towns. And that one did surprise me, just because when I saw 60 points from Cat, I was like, oh, dang. And then the 50-point game was from Saddiq Bey, which is another one that's surprising. Because Saddiq Bey, he's just kind of been up and down, I guess you could say, in terms of, how good he's been. He hasn't really been, very consistent, I would say. But 50 points for Saddiq Bey. He's one of those players who can catch fire easily. But going back to Karl-Anthony Towns' 60-point game, he had 60 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 assists. So he had a 60-point double-double. He shot 19 for 31 from the field in 36 minutes, which is pretty good. He shot 7 for 11 from 3, which is 63%. And overall, 60% from the field, which is really good. But yeah, this was on a night that Anthony Edwards had an off night with 5 points. So having Karl-Anthony Towns score 60. Again, this is against the Spurs, and the Spurs aren't really, super good. But yeah, they won that game. And then Kyrie Irving, in his game, when he got his 60 points, they easily won. They won by almost 50 points. And then in that game, Kyrie Irving, he had 60, and no one else really had too good of a game. Kevin Durant had 19, but everyone else was just alright. And Kyrie Irving, 64% from the field and 66% from 3, which is also insanely good. And then if we go over to Saddiq Bey's game, which I think was March 17th. Let me check this. Yeah. Saddiq Bey scored 51 points. Also on the Orlando Magic, which is the same team Kyrie Irving had 60 points on. 51, 10 for 14 for 3, which is 70%. 63% from the field altogether. 51 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and only 1 turnover, which is really good. But yeah, 10 threes, because that's just when Saddiq Bey catches fire, and then there's no stopping him. But yeah, and then today, as I am recording this is March 18th, and the games for today are, let me just go back to the 18th. The big games are Dallas Mavericks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. I guess Memphis Grizzlies versus the Atlanta Hawks. The Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Denver Nuggets. The Lakers versus the Toronto Raptors, because that'll probably be a close game. The Clippers versus the Jazz. The Clippers have been doing surprisingly well, but the Jazz will probably take that one. And then the Phoenix Suns versus the Chicago Bulls. I also wanted to talk about the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, I don't know what happened to them, but now they're doing, horribly. But yeah, now they're doing horribly, and they're going to play the Phoenix Suns, who are 56-14, which is really good. So, that'll be a good game. And then, yeah. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about. The two 60-point games and the 50-point game. The Saddiq Bey one really surprised me. And yeah, the Phoenix Suns, they've been doing really well without having Chris Paul. They're by far the number 1 seed. The Golden State Warriors 1 game back from the second seed, they're now the third seed. But that's mainly because Draymond Green's gone. And for me, the difference between the third seed and the second seed is a lot this season. Because currently, if you're the third seed, you're playing the Denver Nuggets. So the Warriors would be playing the Nuggets. And then if you're the seventh seed, you're either playing like the Memphis Grizzlies or the Clippers. So whoever wins that game, that's who you're going to play. Which will probably be the Timberwolves. So the Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves. And then the Suns, they're going to get either the Clippers or probably, well, because the other play-in tournament currently is the Lakers versus the Pelicans, which means that the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are going to win, I think, the Clippers would have to play probably the Lakers, because I don't think the Pelicans will beat the Lakers. So the 8th seed is either going to be the Clippers or the Lakers, and that'll be who the Phoenix Suns have to play. And then on the East, I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to take the 7th seed, which is how I'm saying what the standings are currently. And as it is right now, the Brooklyn Nets would have to play the Milwaukee Bucks. And then it's kind of close for the 8th seed. It's either between the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, or the Toronto Raptors. But between Charlotte and Atlanta, I would have Charlotte winning. And then I probably have Toronto as the 8th seed. So then that would set up the Miami Heat versus the Toronto Raptors for the first seed and the 8th seed. The 4th and 5th seed would be the Boston Celtics and the Chicago Bulls. The 3rd and 6th seed would be the Sixers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then the 2 and 7th seed would be the Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. So all of those for the East are like really exciting for round 1. I also would say the same about the West. So it'd probably be the Phoenix Suns versus the Lakers for the 1st and 8th seed. The 4th and 5th seed currently is the Utah Jazz versus the Dallas Mavericks. And then the 3rd and 6th seed is the Warriors versus the Nuggets. And the 7th seed versus the 2nd seed versus the 7th seed is probably going to be the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And in terms of like how the bracket could change, because the season's like pretty close to being over. They've played about 70 games. Each team has played about 70 games. So about 12, 13 games for each team. I do think that the East could change a lot from the 1st down to the 8th seed. 1st to 8th seed, I could see it, like, stuff moving around. And same with the West. I think the Phoenix Suns are for sure the number 1 seed. The Memphis Grizzlies or the Warriors are one of the teams that could be the 2nd or 3rd seed for sure. And then the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz both have an equivalent record. And then the Denver Nuggets are only like 1.5 games back. So I could see that being really competitive. But then after the 1st through 6th seeds for the West, it's basically all like garbage. Other than the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have been playing really good. They have a record of 41-30. But then the Clippers, 36-36. The Lakers, 29-40. But yeah, I think this playoffs is going to be really exciting because there's a lot of really good teams. And normally round 1 isn't as exciting. Normally it's like the 4th and 5th seed games and the 3 and 6 seed games are the only exciting ones. But I do think that for this season, I think every round is going to be exciting because of the teams that are in it. But yeah, tell me what you think about the 60-point games, the 50-point game from Sadiq Bey. And I am thinking about starting a 2nd channel. I thought that idea would be cool. But yeah. Bye-bye, little Timmies.